And
Before you go to the next phase, tell us about this environment. What was it like? What would you describe like some of the things you would describe from that environment? They're not. It's not a good place for a child to grow
yeah,
in.
yeah.
How exactly was it like?
You grew up around people. For me, okay, let me give you a scenario. One day we were leaving school. It was lunchtime.
Are you the firstborn?
I'm the firstborn.
Okay.
And there's this guy who's being chased by the CID. And we joined in the chase.
Okay.
And we were like, Salama Primary School, zimeshikana na Huruma Primary School and Daima. So an entire group of 3 schools, we were chasing after the CID who were chasing after a thief. They caught up with him and shot him. They killed him right in front of our eyes. By the time you're 5 years old in Huruma, you're used to dead bodies. Either someone was burned, it was mob justice, or someone was shot. And the biggest problem was the guys who are the thugs, the guys with nice Puma shoes and jeans and jackets. These are our peseta. These are people we looked up to. So whatever they do, that's what we are seeing.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
It was funny that by then no one ever had a discussion about campus universities.
Oh.
All we knew was if you're a matatu driver,
you've made it.
You've made it. If you are a thief, you've made it. And not too long ago, I went back there with a new phone. It was somewhere in 2014. And there was a young boy who passed there and looked at my phone and said, "Wah, you ulichapia wapi?" Like,
wow.
To them,
like, where did you steal it
you
from?
getting something nice, you have to either steal or do something wrong about it. And I was surprised when I grew up. I came to learn that no, there was a bigger world outside Huruma. You understand?
Right.
So I remember there was a time my mom and I and my sister were living in a very small house. Very small house. Ilikuwa kando ya barabara. And
it's a single room.
A single room ya mabati.
Okay.
And we woke up in the morning and we had nothing.
Oh.
And I couldn't explain how that happened.
Everything was taken.
Everything was wiped
from
off.
Just a single. Surely, why?
Yes, and my mom and myself and my sister, like we are just there. You wake up, you have nothing in the house, and it's like we're being pushed to accept that that's normal. You see?
Yeah.
So that is an environment that wouldn't create another environment, or rather would give you in your mind whereby you can achieve, you can go get something, you can become someone.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you as Sam, did you also envision yourself as one of those, drivers or one of those thieves? What did you envision yourself as?
Yes, I wanted to be in a position where I can put on jeans and nice shoes and jackets. That's all I knew. And you being a matatu driver, you look cool. So that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're being exposed to, you also want to do the things people are doing for you to get there.
Right.
Thank God in my life, there's no record of ever stealing. But I walked around them, and the risk that comes with them, I also paid the price for that. Yeah.
What are some of the risks, if you would put it in perspective?
It's just like the Bible says, do not walk in the counsel of the
ungodly. Right.
Maybe I can just give you a story. There was this time, but this was years later.
All right.
I had moved from Huruma. I was living in Dandora. And I was living with my aunt. Actually, I've lived with the relatives for a while, which is not a good thing. But there was this time my aunt told me, the group you're working with, that company you need to stop. And I just decided, you, auntie yangu ni mtiaji.
Yeah.
So she lived in a plot. I don't know if you have the plots in Dandora. It's the doors are facing each other.
Okay.
And the toilet is right at the end. So she lived in opposite the house where these boys were living. Okay. And I joined the boys and I decided, where auntie and Azako, me will live with these boys. And then one day I woke up in the morning. At around 7, I needed to go and relieve myself. And the funniest thing, I couldn't hold it. I had to go. I opened the door. I was wearing just a short, straight to the end of the plot where there was a toilet. I relieved myself. I am the one who opened the door. And upon finishing what I was doing, I looked back and I realized there was a huge man in a black suit standing at the door. Actually, he was almost in.
Mm.
And I looked at him and I wondered, where did this guy come from? I'm the one who opened the door. And on my way coming back, I realized if I get in that house, there could be trouble. So I walked towards the main gate.
Mm.
And that's when I met like 3 Peugeots, 505, 504, with like 15 flying squads with AK-47s. And they were like, shika huyo.
Huyo sasa ni wewe?
Ni mimi. I have a shot. That's all I have.
Yeah.
And these guys are tall and big. And one of them grabbed me. And he started talking to me as we were walking back. And I never got in there, in this house. He never told me tuende kwa nyumba. He just kept talking to me. And he wanted me to just go and nijiuze kwenye ile nyumba nimetoka.
Okay.
So I went straight to the toilet and he slapped me. Kijana kwa nijui kwenyu. We turned around.
Oh, you sort of knew what he was doing?
I looked at it and I could tell this is not good.
Okay.
This is not good. So when we turned around, I'm contemplating, do I go back to that house? My aunt on this other side, she's been furious. She's been angry with me. She wouldn't even want to see me. What do I do? When I got there, I pointed my aunt's house and we knocked. So my aunt opened. It was early in the morning. She was still sleeping. She looked at me, looked at this huge guy, and looked at me again. And this huge guy goes like, Mama, bari yako mzuri. Unajua kijana? And my aunt looked at me again and looked at this guy. And I'm screaming on the inside, please say yes now. You're taking too long. Eventually she said, yes, I know him. And this guy said, kijana ingia ndani na usitoke. They later went in this room and they found under the bed that I had spent the night on, there was like 2 AK-47. There was printers and copiers and computers that were stolen somewhere. And I heard them say, unaona hata zingine ziko na damu. Like the person alinyang'anywa hizo vitu, he was even killed.
Oh.
So the 2 guys I left in that room, they were arrested. One of them is still in committee. We're talking about 1997.
Wow.
Yes. He was, I think, condemned into hanging. And the other one was jailed for life.
Wow.
And I can tell you, Sharon, I was innocent. I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
But I could have paid the price out of stupidity,
Definitely.
out of just being young and foolish, but God's grace.
Amen.
That's why I believe I have a reason as to why I'm alive today.
Definitely.
Yes.
There is a reason.
So when I talk about the environment, that's
Yeah.
what it does. You might be innocent, yes, but you're hanging around these people. You're hanging around people who are doing these things. And in my mentorship program, I usually tell people you're not innocent just because you're innocent. Your innocence has to follow you into being in the right place at the right time with the right people. Otherwise, even if you're innocent and you hang around these people, you may end up paying the price for something you never did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting story. We went ahead, but let me bring you back.
Yeah.
Because now we've gone ahead to Dandora,
Yeah.
but we've not finished the Huruma story.
Yeah.
You said that looking back, what you see, you think your mother might have been depressed. Yeah. What was mom doing? You said she was harsh. What was it like?
Yeah, my mom was super harsh. I'll tell you, being a young mom, a very young mom, by then they were running around industrial looking for work. And 1 minute they're fired, the next minute they're working.
That's manual work.
Yes, she would come home and I don't remember my mom ever creating a warm environment in the house for me and my sister. We were always tensed around her. And one slight mistake would trigger an explosion, kind of. And I usually say, my mom hakuwa anatuchapa. For me, hakuwa ananichapa. I think kuchapa ilikuwa ya ma cool kids. My mom alikuwa ananipiga. There's a difference between kuchapa na kupigwa. I don't know if kama ushaipigwa, unapigwa kama mwizi, like you even go like,
do you want to kill me or what?
It's not do you want to kill me.
Yes.
Twice, neighbors had to break in the house and rescue me when she was about to kill me.
Wow.
Twice, my mom stabbed me with a knife.
Wow.
Yeah, one day she pointed and threw it, and it went right under my nose. The second time, she grabbed it and stabbed me twice,
Where?
right at the top of my head.
Wow.
Looking at that by then, today I analyze the situation and I can tell, like I mentioned earlier, my mom also grew up in a super, super toxic environment. She's been admitted to hospital after her hands were broken by the mom when she was, I think, 12 years old.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned, you remember my mom gave birth to me when she was 15?
You were actually telling me that off air. So these people don't know that story. Please take us through the whole story.
Yeah, I once, that would force me to go.
Oh, let's not go there fast, because that comes later on before you get married.
Yes.
Let's stick to what she was doing at that.
Yeah, those are the things she was doing,
Yeah.
like stabbed with a knife, and the following day, there's no remorse in her. She was never happy. She was never jovial. I used to feel like myself and my sister were baggage to her. Like, she was confused. But by then I was like 6 years old.
When she's stabbing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's probably 2021.
And
Very young,
And what had you
inexperienced lady.
done? Why? What
Actually, the
necessitated?
time I was stabbed at the head, I had done nothing. Nothing. It's just a matter of someone passed by and said, Niliona Sama akicheza in the wrong place. And that itself.
And it wasn't true, was it?
It wasn't true. It wasn't true. Yeah, most of it was just issues with her. Yeah. And you can imagine the way she grew up, there was no one to support her, even mentally, emotionally, or any other way. Today we sit down and we talk, and I tease her and I tell her, "Where mom, where?" And she goes like, "Where chana mimi?" Today she's very much sober. She's a very nice old lady, but I never blame her. I have nothing against her, but I can tell she wasn't okay, and that almost damaged me.
But that time when this is happening, you have no idea. You don't know about her past. You don't know anything. As a young little boy, what would that make you feel like? And was she also doing that to your sister as well?
Yes, she would do the same to my sister. She would beat my sister to a point where you even contemplate fighting her now. And what it does, or rather what it did to me, it almost destroyed me. I became this very hard boy. And not once or twice I've done that to people, not in my family, but whenever we had a confrontation with anyone, I wasn't coming after you to ongelele.
Let's have a conversation.
I'm going for a kill. So thrice I almost killed people fighting. I became a very bitter, very violent, super violent. I've done things with friends, like a simple friend. Tunarudishiana, and then the next thing you're down on the floor and you bleeding and you're doing all manner of things. Yeah. And I realized later, after I grew up, I realized this is just stuff that were.
And when you were doing that, is it because you didn't know another way of doing it, or is it because you actually wanted to take out this person for real?
That was the only way I knew how to deal with issues. That was it. Remember, I grew up without a dad. I grew up without a male figure. I grew up this kind of life. Hey, afadhali unikate mkono, but I won't say sorry.
Wow.
Even the word please for me, even excuse me, you're trying to push me to show my weakness? No way. So hata nikikanyanga, if you expect me to say sorry,
I won't.
I won't. It's like when I snapped out of my mom's nest, I really needed to be myself. And the only way I knew to do it was be a replica of her in one way or another. And it's like you're out of this nest. Now it's like you're trying to prove to yourself, this will never happen again. I will never be subject to torture, to pain, to all that. Yeah. I remember there was a time I walked from Huruma to Mathare looking for my grandfather. I was just trying to figure out how I can get away from all this. And all I had was a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean a shirt because my mom would undress you and beat you.
Oh.
And then she chased after my sister and I grabbed what I could get. It was a shirt. And I walked from Huruma to Madare. Na shati peke yake.
Looking for your dad.
Looking for my
For your
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yes.
Did you ever have conversations with your mom?
No.
How were they like?
No.
No conversation whatsoever.
The conversation watoka hapa kwenda huko unafanya nini? That's it. I don't recall ever having a conversation with mom. Ever.
Wow.
Ever. I don't recall that.
How were meal times like? How was, I'm just wondering. Nothing. You went to school, you came back, nothing.
Our house we were always tensed.
Oh.
We enjoyed it when she was away, but ikifika around 5, because we knew atakuja around 5.
Yeah.
Your heart start beating faster. You see her coming and you looking at yourself. What have I done wrong? Where do I need to fix? What might trigger all this and that? That's the way it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did this affect you in any way in school?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about it.
A lot.
Tell me about it.
Around when I was studying at Salama Primary School, I don't remember ever being anything like, if I was 5th last, that was the best performance. And I would go to school mainly just to go to school so that my mom doesn't kill me if I don't go to school. So I was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't even talk to anyone about it, but people could see it. There were times I would come and my neck is torn into pieces. Either I'm limping or something. That's it. Yeah.
Wow.
So the environment here, Huruma, for me, that's all I remember about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you you said there was no one you could, was it there was no one you could talk to, or you chose not to talk to anyone about it?
First of all, there was no one to talk to. My mom had a brother, and the brother cared less, was living his own life. The only person that I knew would have listened to me was my grandfather. My grandfather would show up once in a month or so, and all he would do, he'll give you kobole, 2 bob. That's it. There's no room, there's no time to sit and talk, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we left Huruma, I was taken to the village for a while, and later my mom was called and told, kuja uchukue mtoto wako urudishe Nairobi, he's gonna kill people here.
Why were you taken to the village, first of all?
My grandmother had a son my age.
Okay.
And a simple confrontation, I would go for the kill. So I almost destroyed that boy.
Oh.
And my grandmother came and intervened, and I took a panga and I chased my grandmother for 1 hour.
Oh my, I'm not even sure it's anything to laugh about, but for 1 hour.
For 1 hour. And then she sent a message, come pick this guy. So from there, I started facing rejection. No one wants me around them. The only place I'm wanted, or rather the only place that she can accommodate me, was where my mom was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will stay there, but you will also face her wrath.
Yes. When I was, I think she changed when I became when I was around 13. Yeah.
What changed?
She stopped beating me.
Oh.
But the way it stopped is after we had this big fight, and I decided leo nipige mimi. She would anachukua mwiko ananigonga, naichukua navunja. I became very rough also. Hard.
Okay.
Yeah, she wants to see me cry. I'm not crying. I'm looking at her straight in the eyes. She punches me and I'm looking at her. And that's the day she sat down and cried herself. And that was the very first fight we ever had.
Okay.
Yeah.
By fight, do you mean a physical fight?
It was physical. No, I never touched her.
You didn't?
I never touched her. Never. There was a time the day she choked me, I couldn't breathe. I was passing out, and neighbors broke the door and they rescued me, and I looked at her and I felt like doing it. I didn't. And I left. And that's when I vowed, you'll never touch me again.
Wow. What kept you from hitting your mom?
I don't know. I'll be very honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard of people punching their parents, killing them, or doing stuff.
Yeah.
For me, that has never crossed my mind. And if you ask me why, I do
can't
not
tell.
know.
All right, Sam, tell me.
Even for her, she doesn't understand how it never happened, even
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes like,
Yeah, because by the time you're becoming a teenager, now you're even bigger in size and all.
yes, yeah.
Tell me, Sam. Some children, when this is happening in their lives, they tend to, go run off. Many children we meet on the streets say
Yeah,
it's because I am mistreated at home or can't stay at home. Some turn to drugs and that kind of a life. Was it the same for you? Did you go that way?
I didn't go that way. And I believe the reason I stayed is because of my sister. I couldn't live without her. I really couldn't live without my sister. And my mom didn't know that the reason I was enduring all this, I couldn't live without my sister. Remember, she was my only sibling.
Right.
And walking away would mean that I walk away from her. And I couldn't. Yeah.
What about getting into other habits like drug use and things like that? Did that come to
I
you?
never did drugs. I never smoked. All I did was chew miraa.
Okay.
Yeah, chew miraa. There was a bit of drinking here and there, not actually a drinker. The hardest thing that I ever took was miraa. Yeah. I think I channeled my
Energy
into fighting. I became very violent, very, very violent. Like one tiny little thing could trigger. I don't know if you ever seen that. Mnachokozana kidogo tu.
Yeah.
And the reaction, you even wonder, was that even worth it?
Right.
That was me.
Someone said it's like killing a mosquito with
a sledgehammer.
Yeah, with a hammer.
That was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I went to the village, I think I took out along with my uncles and my cousins. And years later, I studied counseling and human psychology. So I'm able to tell where my problem was, where my mom's problem were. Yeah, so now I know.
All right.
I know.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sam. Such an interesting story. We'll be getting to the next phase of your life after the news. But in a short while, we take the news with Melissa Odor. Then we'll be back with Samuel. What a story. I pray that you are sticking with us because there's a happy ending to this story at the end of the day. There's a happy ending and a lot of lessons to learn. A lot of lessons to learn. Stay with us. 20933 is our text line. 0717 400 555 is our WhatsApp number. And you can also reach us at Hope FM Live across social media. All right? We'll be back in just a short while.
Listen and live on 93.3
Did you know the Friends
FM.
of Hope is an initiative of Hope Media? Through this initiative, we are able to partner with others who are keen to ensure that we keep hope alive. Through your support, we are sharing the hope we have with many others who are yet to embrace hope. You too can become a part of this initiative today. Send your contribution of any amount to M-Pesa paybill number 933933. Account name Friends of Hope. For more information regarding Friends of Hope, please email friendsofhope@hopefm.org or SMS FOH to 20933. Join Friends of Hope today. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive. Another quality service from Christ is the answer. Did you know the Friends of Hope is an initiative of Hope?
What happened? What happened that you moved to Dandora, by the way, from Huruma?
Oh, yeah. After the village, after
Yeah.
I left
After chasing
after
grandpa
chasing
for
people
an hour.
with pangas, I came straight to Dandora. And it wasn't long before I was a teenager, around 16, 17. In between 16, 17, 18, I was in Dandora.
Okay. Living with who?
Living with an aunt. The same aunt who opened the door and
What happened to?
allowed me.
How come you went to aunt? What was going on with mom?
Because as I was moving back to Nairobi, my mom was moving back to Nanyuki. She was
Okay.
moving to Nanyuki. So I had to stay with my aunt.
All right.
And this was the first time I lodged with relatives. I'm not saying all relatives are bad, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to live among relatives. Yeah, and it wasn't long before I had to move out. And moving out, that means I had to be homeless for a while.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You
After the drama with the flying squad and these groups, I still wasn't. I kept going on with these boys.
Why did you want to keep on staying with those boys?
I think I was seeking identity. I think I didn't know who I was. I'm not doing the things they're doing. Actually, they're smoking weed. I'm not smoking weed.
You're just sitting among them.
I'm just among them. And they would laugh at me because they would say, hujavuta lakini uko hai kama sisi. And it's the truth.
Yeah.
You are among them.
Right.
The smoke is all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried twice and I realized if I do the third one, I'm done. Because the first time I smoked with them, it was something small. I didn't even know what it was. Nishika, nikaeka kwa mdomo. The next thing I realized, nilikuwa nimevaa slippers. I realized vidole zangu za mguu zimerefuka, zimeanguka mbele ya slippers. And I had to walk in a certain way to avoid nisizikanyage. So you can imagine the way I was walking. And this guy looks at me and goes like, oh God, nani aliwaambia mpatie weed? And that was my last time hata kuwa karibu wakivuta weed. They would point and say, ule asikuje hapa. I've never been that kind of things to do with drugs and stuff. No.
Somehow God just kept you from that part.
From that, yeah. And I've been this kind of person, even if you're moving as a group, I'm able to stop and question myself. If I have to turn around by myself, I'll do it.
Okay.
That's something God gave me, and I appreciate that.
All right.
In Dandora, there was a lot of experiences. There was a lot, as a teen now.
Yes.
Remember, this guy is coming from what kind of environment I just told you?
Yeah.
So here I am.
And
I'm
are you
free.
going to school, by the way?
No.
Or you dropped
No,
out?
I later went to school way later.
Oh,
Yeah, I took myself to school.
okay.
What I was doing by then was experimenting everything. Yeah, I know it is not good because I tried. I drink a little bit. I didn't like it. Girls left, right, and center. That became something else. Yeah. And you have a girlfriend here. You have another one here. Then you want to date the auntie. The auntie is the same age with
The auntie.
her.
Okay.
And there was this one scenario.
Uh-huh.
I had the so-called girlfriends. Whenever I say that, I never believe that was me.
Yeah.
And the auntie they had a 2-year difference. So the auntie was a very beautiful girl. She kept pushing me every day. She kept chasing me wherever I go. I could see her. Whenever I saw her, I could run. And one day I went in a house and I found her there. She lived with another auntie also to this girl. And I said, I'm looking for my girlfriend. And she says, I'm in a shop. Kachini mgoje. And I sat there. Big mistake. She was watching adult content.
Oh.
And so I joined in. And one thing led to another. And we were very, very close. Very close. And then there was a knock. And after the knock, I left. I sobered up. And I thought, what were you about to do?
After the knock, who came? Now the girlfriend you're waiting for?
It was the other auntie, the older one. And she goes like, in other words, she's not leaving.
Right.
Disappointment, huh? So I left, sobered up. 3 years later, I wasn't in Dandora. I was born again. I'm walking and I just decided, I know this house. This is the lady. I should just go say hi, let them know. By then, the word had spread that some got born again. They used to call me pastor. Pastor. So I decided, wacha nipitie huku. I say hi to that lady. The auntie now, the one who alikuwa na watch adult content. I got in there. I knocked kwa gate. And I asked, habari yako kwa kina so and so yuko. And the lady at the gate said, yes. So I got there, knocked the door. The father, 2 women, and another lady on the left tuko kwa corner. And I said, habari zenyu nzuri. So and so here. And you can imagine, umeingia kwa nyumba, you have 4 people, all attention is on you.
Right.
And then once I asked so and so, they diverted their attention back to what they were doing.
Oh.
And I thought that was rude. Or what is it?
Like,
did I get in the wrong house? And I decided, what do I do? I took a step backwards with the intention of kusimama kwa mlango so that I just either say bye or something. Then I looked at the far left. I saw the lady. This was the mother to my previous girlfriend.
wow.
And once we locked eyes, she diverted also. And then I made another step and they thought I was about to sit on a long sofa kalikuwa hapa nyuma. And they said, usikae hapo. Whoever you're asking for is there. And I turned around and for real.
Is there where?
There was something for me. Sorry to say, there was something kwa hiyo sofa.
What?
There was a dirty kashuka, something imefunikwa hapo. And the reason I'm saying that's what I saw. I turned around and have you ever been in a situation whereby you feel like you have bugs in your stomach? That's what I felt. So this lady, the older lady, goes like, muite, ako hapo. And she started calling by the name. And then like in slow motion, there was movement under that shuka. And then the first thing I noticed were the fingers came out. They were not like real fingers. She pulled out and I saw the fingers. They had peeled in between. They were very small ones. And then when she revealed the face, I almost shouted. Because remember, I'm from, they ignored me, what's happening here?
Right.
And now look at what is happening the other side. Am I in the right place? Am I in a trance? Am I okay? Is it something? Kuni niko wapi?
Yeah.
She revealed the face and she's got pale hair, pale skin. This bone, cheekbones. And this, and the one, almost the teeth are
They're out.
protruding out outside the lips, the eyes. And she looked at me. She couldn't see me. And the sister said, muongeleshe ndio huyu.
Wow.
And I looked at her. And I looked at them. And she looked at me and she called me by name and said, hey, ulipotelea wapi? And then she covered herself.
Wow.
Ushaonanga ile movie ile boom.
Yeah. That's how I'm feeling actually.
That's
As
what
you
happened.
describe, that's what I'm feeling.
I looked at them and I left. I
You
just
didn't
said, I will
say-
come visit another day.
Okay.
I left. At the gate, I turned around and looked at the gate and did I go in the right house? And then I remember, no, that old man, their dad, and that lady, those are people I know. So that was the right house. Could that be her? Wow. So I went straight to Huruma. There was a friend to this lady I knew many years ago. And I went straight to her. And I said, what happened to her? And this lady goes like, ay, ujaijua. And the way she used the language she used, I didn't like it. She never cared. By then I'm changed. By then, hizo language hata sina. Alipata whatever you understand.
Yeah.
I went straight to church. The church we fellowship by then was a church that the doors were 24/7 open. I'm telling you, that's where we gain our strength. I went straight to church. I prayed a lot. And I cried. And now I was able to put these two scenarios. That day when she was watching whatever she was watching, and one thing was leading
To another.
Right. When the knock came, we were struggling with our zip and belt, and one of us had it off. Had the lady who knocked delayed for another 3 minutes, and that's the time I went and spoke to God and said, even out of my foolishness, out of my stupidity, when I didn't even know who I was,
He still loved you.
you still had purpose. You still were looking at me with the eyes of, I love this idiot, because that's what I was. You get it?
Yeah.
So that was the life in Dandora.
Wow.
It wasn't that much fun, but I was still able to go back there and let them know, whenever they would call me pastor, I would say, pastor. And it's true. I'm not a pastor, yes, but I would rather they associate me with that because of what I did.
All right.
Yeah, she rested later. She was able to rest, and that was HIV. She was in a full-blown stage. Yeah.
Wow. Tell me about salvation. How did it come about?
Whoa, salvation was a struggle. Why? Salvation was a struggle.
First of all, had you been hearing about this God?
I knew God.
You did.
And going back, remember growing up, there was no salvation in our family at all. I had never seen it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. People are not even going to church.
People are never going to church. The only time they would go to church was during Christmas. And there was a church somewhere at Kiamaiko. They would give us some free food and juice. And shule kifungwa. We would go there, eat their food, and that's it.
And leave.
And there was a neighbor of ours once, she told us to the church, took us to a Catholic church. And I liked it. And a relative of ours who was Muslim pushed us to go to Madarasa. I went once.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all.
That's the church I knew.
That's the religion. That's where it ended.
But I knew whenever you're in trouble, you call upon God, He will come.
Okay.
Even in Dandora, I knew that.
Where did you pick that from?
I do not know. I really do not know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But many times. There was a time at school, we were dismissed. We were told, and then it was sports day. And I think I ran and I fell down. Some other kids fell on me and they kept jumping. And I felt like I was about to die. And I called God. I said, God, rescue me. And I felt this relief. There was a teacher who was pulling these kids off. And I lived. And I called God. I've always had that.
Yeah.
But our parents, my mom, there was not that. No, we are not going to church. They do not know. You can't blame them. It's the environment they also grew in.
Yeah.
So in Dandora, after the drama with the flying squad and these guys are arrested, and I never stopped hanging around the wrong guys, my aunt decided, you know what? You're on your own. I wish you could tena. So I used to sleep in a kibanda. Yamboga. You're hungry, you're roaming around at night looking for mama wa mboga kama alisahau nyanya na carrot moja hapo kule usiku. You call it a day na awabakishangi. So at that point I started praying, saying, God, I'm tired. I'm really, really, really tired. By then I would meet my friends and they would call me lazy. wanakuanga mlazy sana.
So what do they want you to do?
They want me to follow them, go steal. They had guns, 20, and I knew they had that. Funny enough, they would leave like 5 of them. They would come back missing 2.
Okay.
You ask them, where so and so?
Ameshikwa.
Alishutiwa Kariako. There was a time I popped in one of their houses and I found them trying to remove a bullet from one of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm still hanging around them.
And I'm even wondering, how did they keep you with them? Because, see, unaweza waseti or something.
I do not understand. But the day I left that place, I never looked back. They were comfortable around me, but never understood who I was, really.
Okay.
So when I became homeless is when I said to God, I'm really, 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 really tired.
So how long did you sleep outside?
That was like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks. There was a time the police came, they found me nimelala hapo, nimestretch miguu imetoka kwa kibanda. And they looked at me and one of them just said, shida yako ni nini? He said, I'm homeless. He looked at me from head to toe and I think he could tell this is not a thug.
Yeah.
So he said, songesha mguu uko ndani ulale. So from there I went to someone, my grandma's sister, and I said, I'm tired. And she told me, let's look for work. That's how I ended up in Bahati.
Okay.
Yeah. And I stayed in Bahati for 2.5 years. And that's where the transformation came.
So what work did you get?
Makanga.
Oh.
The same job.
The same job you are dreaming of.
Yes. Finally got it.
Okay.
And I started doing so well. And then I realized, no, I needed to go to school. So I was multitasking about this in school. When I was there is when now salvation started calling. And I wasn't like Peter kwa Bible. No, I wasn't like Paul, the one who was transformed
from
instant.
Saul.
I was Mr. Peter. Saizo ndio miraa imekuwa tamu sana.
Okay.
Sana. You leave it, you go to church. Ukitoka church, the spirit wants to go home.
Yeah.
The flesh is pulling you toward Eastleigh, where we used to buy it. And I really, really struggled to a point whereby I decided this salvation wachaikai.
Before, niambie your time uliokoka kwanza. What happened? Who took you to church first of all?
It was 31st 2000. I said, a friend of mine came and said, tunaenda kushikishia wapi leo? And I looked at him and I said, mimi naenda kushikishia church.
Oh.
And I thought I was joking. I never meant it.
Oh.
He left.
Okay.
And believe me, I ended up in church.
Wow.
I went to KAG, Bahati KAG. Nikaka, I looked at people. I never liked Christians.
Why?
I thought they were hypocrites. But then I felt they were hypocrites.
Okay.
So I decided even if I ever get born again, I'll be doing my thing and walking away.
Okay.
And I did that for a very long time. So here I am. They are singing, we're enjoying. We are supposed to leave at around 5 because it was a kesha.
Yeah.
I left an hour earlier and went home.
Okay.
Hey, the following day, ni fast. Watu wameshikika. And for me, I'm feeling so nice. I'm like, wow. Wamelewa, wananunua miraa, wanafanya. I just feel like, wacha tu ni rest.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I succumbed to the pressure. I chewed miraa jioni. And chewing those things will lead you from one thing to another. You're going to chew, you're going to drink, you're going to go looking for your old girlfriend. Yeah. All those things. I did all those. And then the guilt started coming in.
Right.
Hey, you committed to God. What are you doing? And that kept happening to me. Yeah.
All
so that was the trigger that I needed to, for me, I usually call it, I needed to change the way I was walking. And not once, I remember after that, the struggles. There are some friends I was hanging around in Bahati, and one day on a Sunday afternoon, now I had gained the courage ya kutembea mpaka nimebeba Bible. Kitambo ulikuwa unaificha utakiwa. Because of their lifestyle, you don't want them to know who you are. One day I'm walking from church on Sunday. I didn't have a Bible. And I saw them. I saw 5 of my friends. 5. They're walking, they're chewing, they're drinking. It's in the afternoon. And I thought, one, I don't want them to see me.
Okay.
Because even my dress code by then indicates that I'm no longer like them. When they saw me, they went like, we Sam mko mtiaji sana siku hizi. Shida yako ni nini? And I thought, do I run? Because I knew they were even capable of kuniharas kwa barabara.
Yeah.
Ati kucheza tunacheza, but they also knew they wouldn't have pushed it. Tutafight. So I told them, nyinyi ndeni kwenye mnae, mimi naenda home. One of them said, huyo mko mse wa church. I'm telling you, walicheka, and I felt so bad.
Oh.
So bad. I started walking away. One of them grabbed me and said, wacha ujinga. Twende kwa club. Kuna club ilikuwa inaitwa Monte Carlo. I pushed him because I was already angry.
Yeah.
I pushed them. They started pulling and pushing. Tunacheza. Polisi wanne wakatokelezea. Chao. Young boys doing that downtown.
Yeah.
That's trouble.
It
We
is.
had to run, all of us, same direction. Do you know the direction led to where?
Where?
Monte Carlo Club. I got in the club. You used to pay by then. They paid for me. I got in there and sat down. And when I was walking in, the music ilikuwa mbovu. I didn't like the music. I didn't like the environment. The women there, they looked not that good.
Yeah.
Nashika, not good. So I'm like, where am I? So I sat and decided after a few minutes, nitatoka. I'm telling you, whenever I would attempt kutoka, the bouncers would go like, unajua kuna polisi wanatafuta wale watu walikimbia. And I'm like, sitoki. They brought me beer. Sikukunywa. They did all they could. I didn't succumb until one of them brought me mera baby.
Oh.
Alikuja akaekelea hapo kwa meza na bigiji. And he never talked to me. He's just dancing and looking at me zile za anaisukuma hivi kinjaro. I looked at it. 1 minute I'm touching it. The next minute I'm feeling it. The next minute I'm chewing it.
Oh.
Imejaa kwa mdomo. And I woke up in the morning. Now I had chewed mera. I had taken the beer. The women that I thought they didn't look so good, after zilishika, I'm wondering, Miss Kenya ametoka wapi?
They are now looking.
They look perfect. They are wonderful. Like, get.
Oh.
So I left in the morning with a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
And I went straight to the house. And that's when the real transformation started happening. Nililala, nika brush meno and everything. I tried sleeping, I couldn't. I woke up. I knelt down. And I said, God, between me and wewe, we need to talk.
Okay.
Yes. I think there's some people who are meant kupotea. Not everyone atunafaa kwenda binguni or kulive a salvation kind of life.
Sasa hivyo ndo unaambia God.
That's what I said.
Okay.
I am one of them. And from now on, I am officially telling you, I'm done.
Oh.
Is it struggle ni mob? I can't do it anymore.
Okay.
I'm done. I can't keep doing this. Sababu guilt ilikuwa imenisukuma chini. I had tried. There were other incidences. But this one now, I just decided it's over. And I left the house and I went looking for hizo vitu nimeishi nimehepa. Hizo mera, hizo pombe, where are those ladies, blah, blah, all those. I never found any of them.
Okay.
Because bado nilikuwa na hangover. In the evening, I came back home, nikaakisha TV. You remember we used to have family TV?
Yeah.
Nikaakisha TV. Previously, you remember on Saturday jioni I was watching family TV. Sunday nilikuwa church. So sijai switch your TV from any other channel.
Okay.
There was this preacher, my favorite preacher, alikuwa anaitwa John Hagee. So when I switched on, he was preaching. It was around 7:30. And I looked at it and I thought, I should switch it off. Or rather, I should shift from these salvation things. Hii tulitoka.
Okay.
And when I made a step towards the TV, nili switch off, nikaipea time iwake. So I walked away. Then coming back, I thought of kubadilisha. And John Hagee goes like, don't touch that dial. And I thought like, what?
I think I'll be saying that. Don't touch
that dial. He has a tendency of doing that if you ever listen to him.
Okay.
And I thought, don't touch that dial. And I thought, nini mbaya na huyu mzazi? Shida yake ni? I Nikasimama na ile ujeuri. And he said, falling down doesn't make you a loser. Staying down makes you a loser. When you fall down, rise up. Quit your thumb-sucking attitude. Wow. Grow up. Hey.
Wow.
And I thought,
Haya.
huyu ametumwa na nani? You see?
Right.
And the someone that followed haikuwa kubembeleza mtu yoyote. No, and he was talking to me. And I looked at him and I thought, ushaangalia mwaka kwa nyumba hivi? Huwa najaribu. Kwanza when he said, quit your thumb-sucking attitude. Grow up. Wow. You fall down, rise up. Dust yourself up. You are a child of the king. Live like it. Act like it. Nikanyenyekea nikakaa chini. The sermon ikaisha. And I went back the same place I had knelt in the morning and I said, God, nimepiga around siku mzima, I'm back. Yeah. But this time you need to help me. Wow. I am this kind of person who's gone through all I've gone through. I need help. I can't do it by myself. I can't. I've tried. I don't have the strength. And that is when my transformation ilianza to happen. That's when I realized I didn't have to save myself. That's when I realized I didn't have to use my own effort to stand. Yeah. You see, like Paul saying, I beat this body every day to put it under total submission. Yes. The day I realized that, I realized no matter how many times Sam you fall, God's grace is there. He will lift you up. He's not a mean father in heaven pointing finger, wewe ulianguka ulifanya wewe. No. Yeah. He's a God who is up there. His mercies are renewed every morning. His grace. And the day I realized that, now I started my journey. That was followed by so many other incidences. There is one where it all started.
Okay. What happened?
There used to be a club ilikuwa inaitwa Vibes Thika.
Okay.
You ask me today where it is, I don't know. But I know kulikuwa na club tulikuwa tunaenda. That I had ignored what happened for like 6 months kwa hiyo club. I went kwa hiyo club. We would hire matatu from...
You're still, at that time, you're still at out.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We would hire matatu as a group inatupeleka Vibes. Tukiwa group kubwa sana. Kila mtu na demu yake na boyfriend yake. So I left with mine. Tukaenda Vibes. I'm one of those guys wanakuanga na mguu mbili za left. I don't dance. I can't dance. So I'm just seated down watching people dancing. For me, you know what I'm chewing by then. Mera. And a bit of alcohol kidogo. My girlfriend is dancing there. People are dancing all over. And then, I don't know if you know this, when you chew mera and you get tense or bad news or something, it tends to become jello. It tends to become uji like kwa mdomo yako. So here I am. I'm looking at people dancing. Then I got up and I thought, let me go to the counter, buy a beer. Nikuje hapa nikunywe. So wakati nilisimama moving.
Wait a minute. This is after that John Hagee story? No, it was before.
No. After John Hagee, I was stubborn to God. By the time tufiku kuna John Hagee, I had so many incidences where God was just like, wewe.
Yeah.
This is the very first time I had God calling me.
Okay.
And he said, wakati I was count, I had, it's loud. The music is loud. And then there's some smoke they used to spray.
Yeah.
It would make colors kwa hewa. So ilikuwa inakaa tu crazy. In the midst of that, as I was walking towards the counter, I had a voice, a very clear voice. And the voice was very simple. Who are you? That's all I had. I turned around, looked around, and I thought ni DJ akimix vitu zake, alisema hivyo. And I thought that voice was clear. So I kept going kwa counter.
Yeah.
By the time nifike kwa counter, whatever I was chewing, mera, had turned into...
Paste-like thing.
Yeah, it had turned into some liquidish thing.
Okay.
And you're struggling between swallowing it and chewing and all that, and it became too much. So I thought, hey, let me go to the toilet, fix myself up. Because the remedy by then, you chew more.
Okay.
You put some chewing gum.
Okay.
Nikafika kwa choo. Nikatry kuipump. Nikatry kuweka nini. None of it is working. And I decided I'm going to spit all of it and start afresh.
Yeah.
So I did that. And once I was able to spit all of it and clean my mouth and all that, I lifted my head up and I saw my face kwa kioo. And the person I saw looked very different. Have you ever gotten to a point where you guys just say, wow, you look handsome. You are good. Like, you are
Yeah.
loved or something. I couldn't tell what this was.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, do I start chewing mirror again?
Okay.
I looked at the mirror. Then I thought, actually, even putting this thing kwa mdomo, it will mess that guy I just saw.
Yeah.
I left the toilet. When I exited the toilet and came where people were dancing, those guys felt like they were far, far, far away from me. I looked at them and they were far. They are dancing and then they look like they're all bending or they're looking downwards. For me, it's like I'm in an elevated position where I'm seeing them.
Okay.
I stared and I started wondering, kweni, that vivi nilikuwa nakula niliekewa nini? Am I okay?
Yeah.
I'm not okay. So I went and sat down. I'm looking at them and they are distant. Then my so-called girlfriend attempted kuja kunikalia. I pushed her like away. Ile mpaka nilistuka. So I decided I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this club. Ile matatu tulikuja nayo, I'm going to stay in that mat until wamalize sherehe, tuende home.
Go back.
I got in the mat, sat at the front seat next to the driver, and that way it happened that I gazed through the windscreen at the skies.
Yeah.
And Sharon, the sky was beautiful. Wow. I've never seen anything like that in my life, even today. The sky looked like it was looking at me. Zile za, you, tuna focus na wewe sahi. I looked at it and is God smiling at me? That's the feeling I got.
Wow.
I think God is smiling at me. I think this God loves me. I think so.
I want to cut you short, Sam, because our time is pretty much well spent. But as you said that, I kept on thinking and feeling, God is always, there. He's always there. It is we that probably rebel him, but he's always there, smiling at us, like you mentioned. And even as we are talking right now, this could be God smiling to someone who's listening to us, who is where you were those years ago. And so I want to encourage that person that might be, hearing this and thinking, God, wait, what are you guys saying? God, are you? Yes, he is serious. He's actually beckoning you. He's calling you. You are mine. Come to me. Come to me. Live that life and turn to me. And we will be so happy to pray with you. Please let us know you want to give your life to Jesus. If you don't know what to say, how to say it, we will lead you through a prayer and we will point you to a people that will walk with you. 20933 is our SMS line. 0717400555 is our WhatsApp number. Sam, we want to hear. We have so many comments. I'm not sure if we should read the comments first or first of all hear about your mom and how you came. Let's talk about your mom because many of the questions and comments here are pointing to the mom.
Yeah.
So after salvation, we will fasten the story just a little bit. How did you... there's another story you've not told us of, looking back and realizing this is what your mom was suffering from.
Yeah.
Please tell us that as you connected with healing with your mother and forgiving her.
That came in after I got married. I actually did counseling in human psychology where I was married, but in the process, after I got born again, it took me a while, but I went home and witnessed to my mom.
Okay.
And she got so excited and she received Christ. And even before then, I think she had, after the loss of my sister, I think she searched herself or something happened and she became a very changed person.
What happened to your sister? Was she sick?
Yeah, my sister was sick.
Oh, poorly.
Poorly. So that is when I noticed that my mom was changing after the death of my sister. And I witnessed to her. She became a born-again Christian.
Amen.
Yes.
Wow.
And she witnessed a lot to her siblings, and salvation started thriving in our family.
Praise God.
Wherever we would go,
Yeah.
people are getting born again. And for the first time, when I went for psychology, is when I learned that I needed to confront my mom and say, hey, mom, unajua venye kulienda kulikuwa.
Yeah.
And I think she dreaded that. She wasn't comfortable with that. But after I was done with it, she realized it helped her and myself. I can't believe my mom today hawezi chuna mtoto wangu.
Wow.
I can't believe it. Sometimes I'm like, mchune. And
Yeah,
she
no.
can't even touch. And she's this loving lady. She's
Yeah.
this gentle lady. Stubborn still.
Yeah.
I'm also stubborn. Between me and her, there's a lot of conflict.
Okay.
But we truly love each other now with a lot of respect. And the way she changed, I think salvation brought transformation in her life. But guess what? I also needed to heal for me to be able to reach out.
Right.
I needed to heal and realize I needed to forgive for her to acknowledge who she was.
Yeah.
I would like to highlight something when it comes to forgiveness.
Actually, let me just read out a comment as you highlight that, Sam. I'm listening and waiting to know, how did you come to good terms with your mom? I mean, how? I have almost a similar situation, but no matter how much I try, it's hard to forgive my mom and be in good terms with her. I hope your story will help me out.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think he relates with me. I will tell you one thing. There's a lot of people out there who are hurting, and they were hurt by their moms. And I use the word mom. But it is never expected. So everyone is always talking about
The dads.
my mom,
Yeah.
my hero,
being the
my
hero.
savior, my
Okay.
mom,
Yeah.
mama yangu. You go to every radio channel, mom.
Yeah.
It's okay. But I have met a few people. I've met a few people who are truly, truly hurting because of what's done to their mothers.
By their
By
mothers.
the mothers.
Okay.
And it gets even difficult when you can speak, you can talk about it, because outside that is not expected. You see, I
Right.
sit around a group of guys and all they can say, hey, my mom. And I'm thinking, if I spoke the truth of what had happened, nitaribui.
Yeah.
I met a lady the other day, a friend. She's successful. She's actually a lawyer. And we sat down and she tells me, let me tell you the truth, Sam, I can't move on. I hate my mom. So what I did, confrontation. This is what I encourage. I tell them, hey, go talk about it. And you'll be surprised, once you talk about it, they tend to snap out of it. They tend to face it and go like, oops. Yes, I knew this was there, but I didn't know this is how deep ilikuwa hurt. And I didn't know you've been carrying it all this time. And confrontation will bring, it's actually the beginning of healing. You have to talk about it.
Okay.
The more you talk about it, people don't quarrel when you talk. You understand? People don't fight. People should, or rather, what I'm trying to say, once you talk, you create a foundation to start building up on something. It is not meant for, as long as you're able to go and lay it nicely without emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Healing, for this person who wrote this, I think confrontation will help. Not comfortable. It's not a comfortable thing to do.
Yeah.
But go start doing
Say
that.
it.
Say it in a polite, in a respectful way.
Okay.
Let's say, Mom, my heart hurts. I usually feel the pain. This and this happened, and I want us to close this gap.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's the beginning of healing. There's no
Right.
other way that I personally knows. That's the one thing I would recommend.
And you say it's the beginning because it's a journey, right?
It will be a journey.
You won't just wake up and suddenly.
No.
All
No.
right.
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Thank you, Sam. Let me read some of the comments, some other comments. I'm so went through a similar situation, only that my dad was also present and violent. I never left because I feared for mom, even though she used me as a punching bag to release her marriage stress. I succeeded in school and life generally because I wanted to be able to be financially able to rescue, quote unquote, my mom. Although I made it, she refused to leave, and instead I bore the burden of financing her and many of my siblings and my dad as well. The negative effects of it have been major. I started getting freed from some just 3 years ago when God asked me to stay away from to stay where I am now, and He is working on me. Quite a lengthy one, but thank you. May God continue to work in you in Jesus' name. Okay. This one says, I'm okay. She's glad that she can talk with her mom about it now. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me get to this one. In distress, I cannot afford to laugh listening to that man talking about his story. I can relate. I'm a woman, been through worse and still fighting with lots as a single woman. And I am wishing, a man of God will come to my rescue as I have wished. Okay, wow, what a story, Fred from Kitangela. This story of this man almost looks similar to mine. I passed through almost the same things in campus and in ghetto, Mukurukwa and Jenga. I had a very bad company, and I thank God that from all that, I am now saved. Amen. Great testimony. This one says, one of the things I love most about God is that even when you are disappointed and seeking for an opportunity to sin, God just keeps chasing you and saves you from that. Oh, this wow. One day, I wish I will be able to share my story as well. Okay. I thank God for this brother and for stopping eating those green things. Okay, all right, thank you. We give glory to God. This story is so touching. He's gone through a lot, and I'm encouraged every part of it. For sure, God has good plans for him. Amen. Okay, we did answer the question of how you got born again. Sam, we have only 5 minutes to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to. I know you mentioned that you run a mentorship thing. Why is it important for you that boys or that people are mentored as they become older?
Thank you. And that is the part that I missed in life. I call them pace setters. You need someone who you would emulate, someone who will set the pace for you, someone who you would want to be.
Yeah.
And that is the part that I grew up without. I grew up, like I told you, twice I grew up, I stayed for a while with relatives. And most of the time, maybe relatives might turn to be competitors. They do not envision you becoming better. That's a story for another day. What you need is a mentor. And I learned that, and guess what?
Yes.
With all the hype we have about the girl child, you can imagine where the boy child is. They're there. And one thing I believe is that if we raise a community where the boys are not taken care of, so that we just empower the girls, these boys will become a problem. And guess they will become whose problem?
The girl's problem.
The girl's problem.
Right.
They will become a mother's problem.
Absolutely.
A sister's problem.
Yes.
They will be our burden. I believe that we should be able to have the African child, but not the girl child or the boy child. We empower one, leave the other one. There's no balance.
Yeah.
So for me, I go after the boys. It's a mentorship program. I use sports to mentor them. It's something I do freely. It's something that I focus on, not mainly for income generating. Actually, I give more on it. But I believe that if these boys are better, we won't have these guys roaming around with guns.
Yeah.
For those of us who are grown around Eastlands, by the age of teenage, they're carrying guns, they're chewing this mirror, they're doing drugs. And nowadays, things are even more complicated more than they were during my time.
Yeah.
But because these boys are talented and they're passionate about sports, if I just create an environment where they would come, they play football, they do a lot of swimming, a lot of other sports, then we can talk about the effects of drugs, the effect of I can do counseling. Yeah. we can talk about them and talk about, they can open up, they can get a place to open up, like the environment I create. If a boy is going through what I went through those days, they'll look at me and say, Coach, this and this happened to me. I have a photo someone sent me yesterday of a child, a small boy. He's probably 5 or 6. Mama yake alichukua brush akampiga kichwa nayo na and it looks bad. You see, boys like those needs to be healed. Otherwise, if you don't heal them at the right time, once they grow up, they're going to become a problem to the society. And that is a fact. So we have this Moranis, I call it MSSP. In Tengela, there's another one in Kikuyu called Scotland. It's simple. It's for us to sit down as boys and talk. And we're welcoming even girls so that we're able to talk and do mentorship, pace setting. Pace setting. If I bring you in, you get to talk to them. You give them stories about your journey. Definitely that will make them better. And that is what was missing for me growing up. And that is what we are trying to do to the community right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sam, for coming. Thank you for sharing your story. I know there are so many bits we've not been able to capture, but time fails us. But we truly appreciate.
I'm glad.
God has healed you from anger issues and violence.
100%.
Amen.
Yes. In a journey.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm healed. I forgot. You never gave me an opportunity to say that I'm married to Naomi.
Yes.
I'm a father of 3.
Beautiful.
Smika Slaith and Shamirel Sam and Samuel Irimo.
Wow.
Yes, a father and a husband, and
That's
with
amazing.
a lot of friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Karibu
so
sana.
much. Thank you for using your life story and everything you've gone through to be a blessing to many others. And may God continue to use you for the glory of his name. Listening to the beating experience, still we run and hide under the bed at our neighbors, but mom will follow you there. But this was when you had done a mistake, so never hold to that. But we used to live scared of each other. Okay, that's just a comment from one of us, and so many others that I was not able to read. But thank you, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on Facebook at Hope FM Live, on YouTube as well. You can share this link, let as many people get to hear this story and be impacted for the glory of God. My time is gone. My name is Sharon Naitore Wangenye. I'll see you sometime next week if the Lord so allows. But right up next, we have Shangilia with Papa Maniaila. But before that, Melissa Odor with the latest in the news world. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Bye-bye and God bless.
Hope FM.